This is strange. This is my third take, which is weird because this channel is just made for me to ramble on about things and not care about not speaking well. But hey, welcome back to Spookier Celluloid, the channel where I prove that I really like to rant about stuff that doesn't really matter. And today I'm reviewing a film from a director that I wasn't really familiar with. I only seen his most famous film, and that is of course the ghastly one from Andy Milligan, and I didn't care much for it at the time, but ever since then my tastes have kind of changed. Some people would say for the worst. I definitely agree with that, so I hit up my good friend Herschel Gillis, and also co-host of the Open Casket podcast. I gotta plug myself, even though most of you already know who I am. And I knew that he loved Seeds, but I wasn't in a mood to watch a film like Seeds. So he's like, watch Torture Dungeon, which is a very cliche name for a horror movie. Like Torture Dungeon, you can kind of imagine 50 different scenarios. What I didn't think this was gonna be a period piece melodrama with some gore and nudity thrown into it. So Andy Milligan is known for a lot of things, not really well known for making good movies, but he's known for a couple of things, and that includes the costume design, which was probably my favorite part of the ghastly one, is just the costume design. And I think he was a costumer or something like that, or I know he was in the world of theater and plays, which is apparent by the acting, which is equal to your local summer acting troupe. The acting is atrocious, but the costume design is beautiful, and it's a period piece. And I just got done watching this, and I thought reading the synopsis that it'd be pretty self-explanatory, but when the credits popped up, I was as confused as I was when I started watching this. The plot is a bit weird. It's really like linear, but the fact that characters just show up and then disappear for 30 minutes to show up again for like one scene makes it more confusing than it should be. So it starts with this guy who picks up flowers, and he's the king of a kingdom, and he gets decapitated, which again, the gore is pretty good for something that allegedly cost $15,000 to do back in 1970. This looks like a bit lower budget, but IMDb says 15,000. Anyway, the king gets decapitated, and his brother is the one his half brother, is the one behind it, because he wants to take over the kingdom, but he's a half brother, so he's got a couple other family members to kill. And during the entire film, he has this plan, this very Shakespearean plan to take over the kingdom by murdering every other heir. And he's not really subtle about it. Anyways, there's a council of the kingdom, and they're kind of nervous because the family member behind the king is the half-witted brother, which they call him a half-wit. After seeing him, he's more than a half-wit. He doesn't have much wit left to him. He kind of mentally challenged for real. And it's not played subtly. It's ridiculous. Sorry, I just gotta close the door. My cat just entered and yeeted out. So yeah, but he also wants to, the council wants him to reproduce, so they basically buy one of the peasants who's already in love with this man, but of course he gets killed because they plan to escape together and blah blah blah. Like I said, it's all treason and this very big Shakespearean ideas. Thrown in there is, it's just gore. And the titular torture dungeon is just one scene where the Duke, that's the name of the half-brother who attempts to kill everyone to take over the kingdom, as this torture dungeon, literally, where he tortures servants that, I guess, didn't do what he wanted him to do. This, it's just for one scene, and it's the title of the movie. Where was I with the story? So yeah, it's just this Duke who plans to kill people, and he has this hunchback with him who he fucks, by the way. Which is kind of interesting. For 1970, this is kind of pushing the edge, and that's why I'm so interested in Milligan and his work, is because this is underground filmmaking, but back in the late 60s, early 70s. So as a fan of film history and as a fan of underground cinema and indie cinema, this is an important figure. Andy Milligan is an important figure, and this is not going to be the only time I talk about Andy Milligan. I'll probably talk about one of his films on my main channel and go more into details on why he's so influential. Again, Ben Simpson, great YouTube creator, did a video essay on him. Anyways, I'm not here to talk about Andy Milligan, I'll do that later. I'm here to talk about Torture Dungeon and what I thought of it. I really liked it, but this is far from being a good movie. It's got the cheese factor to 100. Like I said, it's basically a period piece soap opera. The music cues are so cheesy. The music is so on the nose and cheesy. The acting is god awful. There's a character. They all have these wigs that are kind of comical. I mean, the costume design is great. The wigs, though, leave a bit to be desired, and it's all like these square. It's ridiculous. But there's one guy which I don't understand. I don't remember his name. He's the one who kills people for the Duke, and he has to kill the new wife of, you know, the half-witted brother, but he loves her, and he's the most awful actor I've seen in a while. Is the way he talks is just, oh yes, I love you, but I cannot love you because we are not this. It's awful. The gore is surprising. Like, it's not great gore, but considering the fact that this was probably just made by Andy Milligan and there's a lot of blood and some effects are pretty good for the time and for the budget and for the time and constraint they had to do this film, probably, it looks pretty good. The gore looks pretty good. The costumes, they're pretty good. I love Milligan's cinematography. Like, it's not professional. You can see there's not like a bunch of lights set up to light a scene. Most of the scenes seem like they're either shot outside or like in an abandoned house that they just put some decor into it. So it's a lot of natural light, it's a lot of harsh lighting, but just Milligan's use of not handy-cam, but like handheld cinematography is really cool, especially for the time and especially for the budget. This is clearly shot on 16mm, it's 4:3 aspect ratio, but like the movement in his films, the camera is never still. It might be like on a tripod for like 3 or 4 scenes, but like most of the action is handheld and it's very interesting for the time. So I don't think I need to say more. I recommend it. I had fun with it. I bursted out laughing at the point where the Duke, who fucks the hunchback and fucks some of the servants, says to a lady servant that he's in love. I guess, very fucked up definition of love, but she just caught them, caught him with the hunchback, and he's like, and the Duke says, I am not a heterosexual, but I am not a homosexual, and I am not asexual. I am a trisexual. and just his shitty delivery just made me burst out laughing. This was unironically a fun-ass movie. I can't bring myself to give it a high rating though, because there are some long parts of terrible acting and terrible dialogue, and it goes on for a while, kind of like this video. So I have to give this one a 7 out of 10. This is also my first like straight like 7, not like 7 point something. 7 out of 10. I enjoyed my time with it. I'm excited for more Andy Milligan in my sad, pathetic life. That was a depressing way to end the video. Pussy.